Okay, so let's begin by presenting our panel. Alice, of course, you just met, head of A&R at the Kennel. Yes. And we have Robin Jenssen, CEO of Kreation Music Rights, who with a long, extensive experience of working in Asia and in China as well. And you are just in the process of opening an office in Shanghai. And we have 2 songwriters and producers. Albin Nordqvist, connected to Cosmos Music. And you entered the Chinese market. You also have a long experience with working towards Asia, but entered the Chinese market with a Sprite song.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hello. Hey, everyone. Yeah, that's right. One of my first adventures in China was making the official Sprite anthem at the time. And it was together with a British artist you might have heard about, James Blake. And the thing was, I was the cultural translator for him to get this song out in China. Since, I don't know if you heard James Blake before, he has a very minimalistic, very artistic sound. And Mandarin rock needs a little bit more excitement. And so I was a guy remaking his song into a Chinese rock song. That was like 6 years ago or something, I think. But I worked a lot in idol music as well, and a little bit of Chinese.
And we also have Anders Gukko, songwriter and producer, who's been with the Kennel since 2021. And among other things, you have been working intensely with Little Ghost, which is one of China's biggest artists, more like in the rock spectrum. And there's an entire album coming out very soon.
That's right.
Which we'll know more about very soon.
For sure.
First, like a general question, what would you say are the differences working with the Chinese music industry compared with the West and also compared with other Asian countries? Let's begin with the creator's perspective, Anders and Albin.
Yeah, I mean, I think like musically, for me and for us we had a release this Tuesday with a song with Lil Ghost. Like musically and artistically, it's an American pop song, basically. But I think the way we made it with him was more to to really show him and his strengths. It's sometimes a lot of energy. One of the biggest difference I would say in a session is that I get a lot of honest reactions from Chinese artists and songwriters in terms of if you ask like, oh, do you like this? It's like, no. and that doesn't happen in Sweden. Then it's like, oh, maybe we should try something else. Maybe we should do something like this. It's like more like that. That blew me away the first time, like confidence-wise in a session. Like, oh shit. But on the other hand, it's when you learn it, it's amazing because it's very fast. It's like, do you like it?
Time
no.
efficient.
Then we do something else, and then we go forward. So I think that's something that I love about it, actually.
When you mean creative-wise, are there other kinds of ways of making music, except for just being honest? Like, are they looking for other kinds of styles in China compared to other parts of Asia, for example?
It depends, I think. For Lil Ghost, for an example, I think it's very much of we vibe on the same American rock stars. So we try to just do something we both love and us three love in terms of that. For some other projects I've been involved in, it's a little bit more sometimes a little bit maybe more R&B soulful chord-wise than we have what we have in Sweden, and I can also see that if you're doing an EP or an album, you at least have to have one ballad. It's like you just gotta do it because that's the people pleaser still, and as far as I know, yeah.
Albin, what would you say are the differences when working towards China?
I think South Korea and Japan tend to have a little bit of a stronger idol culture. I feel the artist range in China is a little bit more diverse, and it's more focused on like solo artists more than group concepts and the bigger idol music. Of course, the biggest music there is ballad still, I think, and it has been for a very long time. But I think it's more diverse and it's more reminiscent to Western music styles, in my opinion, than South Korea and Japan, for an example.
Robin, you've been working towards China for a long time. From like the business point of view, what would you say are the differences when working with China?
Well, it's it's a totally different way of negotiating contracts, which Alice obviously know a lot more about than me. But from my side, I think being able to make sure that you get to keep the publishing, obviously as a publisher, it's we do the same at Kreation. We say no if they want to buy out everything. Obviously, we try to make it even, like 10K on the production, for instance, and then also then 10K on the publishing advance, for instance, so that everyone feel that they're taken care of, and push the boundaries and make sure that we get as much as possible on the upfront. Since well, in my opinion, there is no back end, so you have to get it on the front end, as far as I know, at least. But as like you guys say, it's they're more honest there. They say no. In Japan, they say yes to everything. They mean no, but they say yes. In Korea, it's a little bit in between. They say yes and they want to change everything, but you have those three markets are a little bit different, and also the splits are different in those three markets. Korea, we have a set rate on lyrics, for instance. Japan is maybe 50-50 and a very strict split. In China, it's like a 25% usually on the lyrics, but they have a lot of work to do because of the phonetics on the Mandarin language. Also have the ending on a note, so if you're singing straight or up or down, it has different meanings, the words. So it's actually a pretty decent job they have to do.
Yeah, let's get back into that when we talk about lyrics generally. Alice, you've already told us all about the differences between the markets. But a question, this is still a pretty new thing, working with Swedish songwriters. How great would you say that the interest from the Chinese music industry is in working with Swedish songwriters and producers?
And I think that to the Chinese music industry, like Swedish music, it's not really like a concept. Like it's not really which country has which kind of style or whatever. It's more like to the Chinese people, it's all foreigners, and they want to get good music from the Western. So it's not really about which country I presenting. Like it's not like I only want music from LA. It's not like that.
But would you say that Swedes are getting known in the Chinese industry for being prolific writers, like compared to how we are regarded in other music markets?
I think it's getting better and better since we've been working in this market for 5 years now, and started to make a name in all the labels and AR teams. So everyone actually knows that we're just a Swedish company, like getting great stuff.
But so how does it work? I mean, as Jeppe did in his little question, there are many songwriters here, there are companies. I'm an artist, I'm guessing, wanting to explore this huge market. How does it work practically, like when working with China? Song camps, do artists come here? How does it work?
We work in all different kind of ways. So the Chinese music industry is very heavily influenced from Japan. And because in the beginning, it was the Japanese music was super big in Asia, then they spread it to Taiwan, and from Taiwan, it spread to Hong Kong and mainland China. And then we actually like in the beginning, how people built the labels and publishers, we learned a lot how Japanese were working there. So actually that's why like still nowadays the traditional way of music like split is 50% for lyricists and 50% for composers. But now there are a lot of people like ever since like 2017, 18, like more and more Western companies started to enter to China and pitch songs and introduce writing camps and sessions. And now there are a lot of people like younger generations, they do the international stuff. They also studied in America or other countries. So it's actually quite I have lost my word. Diverse, yes, thanks.
But have you been, what are your experiences with, because in Japan and Korea it's an established way of working, song camps. Have you been to Chinese song camps?
Only in Sweden, with Kennel actually. Mostly I've done online work when I do collaborations with Chinese artists. Mostly just tracks and top lines sent over online to each other. Only recently with Gukko and Kennel I had sessions with the actual artists. And it's so much more fun. And as you said also, they are very blunt and they know what they want, which is actually so nice as a songwriter to get a clear message. It might be annoying to redo a little bit of your work, but I think the outcome is very personal to the artist after that process, and having them that involved is really fun. So yeah.
Yeah, I've had the opportunity to be in Beijing working with 2 different artists. I wouldn't say that was a song camp. It was basically doing, like with Little Ghost, we kept working on the stuff that we already had been working on in Sweden. And another guy called Xiaolei, yeah, and we did an EP, and that was also like sitting in the studio with the artist, talking about life, what he has been going through and everything, and then like try to make as honest songs as possible.
We are actually going to Beijing in December for a writing camp.
Oh yeah,
that's
right.
gonna be our first China camp. We have 7 writers going to work with the local publisher there to write music together.
How many people are you bringing from here to that camp?
Yeah, 7 writers.
Yes. Oh, 7. But let's talk a little bit about this latest collaboration with Little Ghost, because it brings us into somewhat talk of challenges. Okay, so can you describe Little Ghost, who he is in terms of popularity? I understand that he's one of China's most popular artists, like in the rock field. And you have been working with him for how long?
For 3 years, yeah, or 2.5. Whatever, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's, in terms of how big he is, you never really know because you can't see the numbers. But what I've heard from Alice and from him and his people, he seems to be a superstar. And they when we were at the restaurant in Beijing, they cleaned out the restaurant. Okay. So he was there by himself for the top floor, just because otherwise it gets crazy. So I bet he's very well known, and it's cool.
But you've been when we spoke before, when you've been writing now, and also Albin, you've been involved in this as well. What has been his goals on what he wants to project within his songs?
I could try. I think he really likes Western pop and Western rock pop. And I can feel that he wants to have a mixture between more Mandarin style of expression mixed with the Western one. So it's actually kind of fun to find a middle point between the two. I know he has a lot of efforts right now trying to collaborate with Western artists and getting global reach. So, they did an English version of our song, both a Mandarin version and an English version, to be able to push that in TikTok, Douyin, Red Note. I remember the Chinese name. And he's very artistically true, I think, to himself. So it feels, all his melodies and expression feels very Little Ghost. So it's just trying to find a mixture between the sounds from Western to Mandarin.
And this brings us to a little bit talk about the challenges in working with the Chinese music industry, because China is a society known for imposing censorship. And I know that when you've been working with Little Ghost, there was a single released last week that has both drinking and smoking in the song. Can you tell us a bit about that song and what you think might happen to it?
Yeah, I mean, the song starts with him grabbing a smoke outside, which is like what he's told me is like that's not usually how it's done. So we sing about nicotine and about drinking. But I mean, if you compare it to WAP with Cardi B, it's a teddy bear song. So I mean, it's like in terms of that. But I mean, it's still I mean, you showed me some reactions for this song, which is amazing. That like, oh, he has the guts to really do it, and to be a part of that in such a huge country with such many listeners is really, really cool. And to try to push it, and we pushed him pretty hard also to be like, okay, let's go. If you want to do this, we can sing about whatever we want. And then we really did it, and I think that's and now it's out, so we'll see the reactions more about to come. Yeah.
But okay, so you told me before that he actually really wants to push the boundaries,
Yes.
but that you were the one kind of holding back, being scared of the censorship.
Yeah, so I can't really speak for the Mandarin lyrics because I don't speak Mandarin and I don't understand it. But I got an English guide for what he wanted to have the English lyrics about. And it's really dark and really dramatic. And I thought that, wow, this is kind of too heavy almost. So I tried to backtrack a little bit when I made English lyrics. But he didn't like that at all. He said, no, keep on pushing more and more. So I think he was cooler than I was about pushing it. I'm not sure. Do you have anything about this, Alice?
Yes, Alice. What do you think about? Would you consider, as a Chinese person with a knowledge of the Chinese market, this song to be really extreme lyric-wise?
No, I think it's okay. Like from the censorship side, they only care if it's something political or violence or drugs. Other than that, it's no problem. But for Little Ghost himself, he's not really like a rock person because he come from an idol background. He came out as a member of a K-pop group, not K-pop, a Chinese K-pop group, and they were the biggest boy group in the history. And then he built a strong fan base from that period, and all the fans, they are like K-pop fans. They care about the image of artists. They want them to be brides and teddy bear or whatever. So it's more of that boundary he's pushing.
Have you been in situations within your career where things have been stopped because they have been too extreme?
Oh yeah, many actually.
Do you have examples of what can't be said?
I've worked back at my label time. We had an artist that got arrested from doing drugs, and then he got suspended from all the live performances. That was quite a big loss for the company. And also, I worked with another artist called Chris Wu. He was on top in China. He was a member of K-pop group EXO. And he also made some crime and got arrested. And before that, he was involved in a few really big production, like TV drama. And because of that, he got suspended, and the drama just got canceled, and everyone lost a huge amount of money.
What are your experiences with Chinese censorship, Robin?
Well, it's different things, but still, we started doing camps in China in 2016-17, and the visa process was a mess. We did a couple of camps there in Shenzhen and Liang, which is amazing old town city, but the hassle of getting 20 people from the Nordics flying to China through Hong Kong and then into Shenzhen with a boat and then take it was just too much. So we just ended up going to a country closer to China, and then they flew there. So we started having camps in Bangkok, in Thailand, and then take them to Korea and Seoul after that. So the visa process is terrible with many people and a lot of questions, and so it wasn't that easy to do those camps back then. I don't know, now probably easier, but it depends on who is running how your country is doing with their country in a way. Since my company is owned from Korea, and we export a lot of music into China, we get paid for every copy because of that type of sales. We don't let them domestically produce the music or sell it. So it's more of an export thing for us, which is good. So we get to see the numbers and we know how many pieces are sold and everything. But I think when it comes to, we usually do PG rated anyway in both in Korea and Japan. So it's for us, it's just the same. We don't push their limits or go beyond the normal lyrical baseline that they like. So I think that's be appropriate and make a song that you think anyone would listen to, basically.
Actually, there was a news last week that they're gonna open up to Sweden, so it's gonna be visa free soon.
Well, that's a huge news. That's huge news for the market, for the industry. But have you been asked to change lyrics yet?
Not me.
No, me neither. Not in China.
But how do you balance like artist integrity with like regulatory demands? Do you see that as a conflict at all?
Not really. If the artist is comfortable with the lyrics, I'm comfortable too. They know much more about their market than I do, so I just trust them usually.
Alice, do you think that censorship would become more or less restrictive in the coming years?
I think it would be the same for some years, but I don't know. It depends on the policies and stuff.
What would you say are other challenges when working with China? We have the censorship, the visa process. Robin, what would you say?
I think obviously there's a language issue for us, and you need strong partners on the ground who speaks the language to be able to, to go through the process of doing contracts. And I would strongly also advise everyone to have use your own contracts in a way and try to push it through with English and don't sign a Chinese contract. Obviously, you need to stamp everything. It takes forever. It's just a different beast of paperwork, a ton of paperwork, basically. And it needs to be shipped post. You have to do it, the old school way. There's nothing you can do on email. It's just a different thing.
Do you see any other challenges from your point of view, except the censorship part?
I think also language is the hardest part. It's easier when you have someone who can speak English, but since also the nuance of the languages are so different, like direct translations doesn't really apply sometimes. So it's great to have someone like Alice who can actually understand for real, I think.
But another thing I want to pick up on that, Robin, you mentioned before, and also has to do with lyrics, censorship, and the translation process, because a lot of times the English lyrics that, for example, you write are translated. And the Chinese language has so many different ways of pronunciation that if you intonate differently, like going up or going down, like you do when singing, it can mean totally different things. So how does that affect, like how large part does the translation and reworking of the lyrics take?
I mean, on the top of my mind, I think one thing is that when you write a song and you have a lot of syllables in it, sometimes it can be too many syllables, just because you have to hear the melody of a certain word to be able to understand what it's actually saying. So I think that's a thing you have to. We don't think about it when we write the song, but then we can get the feedback. Okay, but here we need to do it like this, and then it might be a slight melody change or whatever. Not always to the better, but I mean, it's also that kind of area we're operating in. So it's like, if it means something great, then it's perfect. Then let's go. Yeah.
This might be a newcomer question, but you write in English. You have the song. Is it translated directly, or is that put on afterwards, or do you need to redo the song when it's translated?
Sometimes. I think in my case, my experience, it's been mostly not translated, it's been appropriated. So they usually rewrite the lyrics in whatever way they want to. And my only original lyrics sometimes keep some of the hook words or something, but not necessarily a translation every time. It's mostly appropriations in my case. I'm not sure about the Little Ghost song because I haven't really translated the Chinese version.
I haven't either.
As Alice pointed out in her keynote, the economic system is different. The payments are different. There's less transparency regarding sales and streams, and different traditions of payment. What are your experiences when working with Chinese companies regarding the economics?
Yeah, that's the experience. There is the upfront payment. That's what it is, basically. But it is things change. Things are changing. There will be, but it's more of take care of the upfront. Make sure you get paid before you deliver the masters, and finalize the order, so to speak, and be happy with that part. If you make $20,000 up front, it's a okay payment for a song, basically. Yeah.
Even though it becomes like the biggest song in the world? I mean, considering that you don't know then the sales or streams, how do you know what to get paid?
You still get the statement and the royalties, but it's just very hard for us to see how you exactly split it, because the income streams are so complicated on DSPs with different functions and how they split it. But also, you get syncs. You work with the big artists and they get live streamed concert with Chinese TikTok. They go on TV shows. We get quite good, I think many songs generated more than K-pop songs.
If we turn it around, how popular are Swedish artists in China? You mentioned Peg Parnevik, used in the game thing. How popular are they?
I think it's just the same ones that's popular in America, then it's popular in China as well. Like ABBA, Zara Larsson, Toflo.
Okay.
No, but they are very into the classical kind of pop.
Yeah.
Secret Garden, for instance, from Norway, they're touring there right now. They've been touring there for 15 years. So those type of artists, classic pop, ballads, jazz, it's huge over there. And when I was going to China, which is a while ago, but I have never seen a country with more live music. Every cafe, every club, it was live music from morning until night, the whole day. I was like, what? Like they start at 12 at noon playing. Yeah, that's what they do. And I was like, shocked.
Yeah, actually, I forgot to mention that in the indie world, the underground market, actually many Swedish bands are quite popular there, because a few years ago I was invited to this band called Mando Dio. Yeah, they were touring in China, and that was maybe 2019 or 18.
If we want to give some advice for the aspiring songwriters, producers, and artists in our audience who wants to work with Asia, what is your advice to them to break into the market?
I mean, if I start, I think like we've talked about Little Ghost a lot, so let's like have that as an example, like how that started was me and a guy called Adrian Inegard, great songwriter at the Kennel. We had a cancelled session. We brought up an ukulele. We wrote a song in 30 minutes that we both were very much in love with. But we're like, okay, maybe we don't get this to be placed anywhere because it's maybe too simple, but we loved it really. So I think it's like basically as all art in the world, you just try to stay true to what you love. Because that song ended up at Lil Ghost, and now we've done a lot of songs together. So I think it's just to stay as true as you can to whatever music you love, and then finally it will get heard.
I think a really good strategy would be actually just reaching out to different Chinese artists from Instagram or TikTok or however you can reach them. Since a lot of the artists there want to do global collaborations with Western artists and songwriters, I think it's just try and see what happens. Try to connect with them and try to make a collaboration. Because it's hard to have a network in the Chinese industry if you're a freelancing songwriter in Sweden. So I would just try to connect on your own.
Do you want advice, Alice and Robin?
I think as artists, start with the Chinese social media. It's really simple. Whatever you post on TikTok and other platforms, you just move them there with a Chinese translation, which you can do on ChatGPT. And yeah, I think that's a good start because they really, like those platforms, they are very inviting for international, especially indie artists. They love the content.
Well, if I'm a Swedish writer, I would contact someone in Sweden and someone maybe up here who are already doing it, and go through the channels that are already open. I wouldn't spend time trying to find someone online, and it's never the artist anyway sitting there and doing the socials. There's a ton of people behind them. It's not a label with 4 employees. It's probably 2,000 people sitting there. So reach out to someone who's doing it already that you maybe know or can get a hold of locally, and then knock on doors and get in there and be good at what you do, and you will get there eventually.
I mean, you are representatives of 3 companies sitting here today: the Kennel, Creation Music Rights, and Cosmos. How would you say? I mean, Sweden is a pretty small market. How would you say the competition between your companies look? Do you compete against each other?
Healthy competition.
We always work together. Like, you can't just write songs in one company. Like, everyone is working with everyone all the time. Then we get the release together. It happens everywhere.
So there's no competition at all.
A healthy
Who
competition.
gets the song?
No, but it is a healthy competition, obviously, and I think if you have success in a city like Stockholm, success will always create more success. So I'm super happy when my competitors are winning. That means the volume of songs is going up, the amount of talent in one city is going up. I see that means it's a healthy situation to be in. If one of these are out of business, then I would be getting really afraid of my own future. So whenever they sign someone new or have a number 1 on Billboard, I'm happy as well. So
Yeah, that's true.
Let's open for questions from the audience. Is there anyone here? Ooh, there's really a motljus here, so I can't really see any hands. Oh, I see one hand over there. Yes.
I work with music law and clearances, and I'm curious because you talked about how there's only upfront payments. You're saying there's not really much back end. So I was curious about how does it work with like collection societies and rights societies. I mean, similar to STIM, and does STIM collect from China at all, or how does that work?
good question. In China, we have the association, but they are mostly looking at the live performance. And you have to have a publisher or a label, but as indie artist, you can also open up your artist account on the streaming platform. Then you get the statement directly from them. And like us, we are with Universal, and then we get the statement from using Universal. The upfront money, it doesn't mean that that's all you get. That would be a buyout, because you will get royalties from the DSPs, from syncs, from the live performances. You will get them, but it's not that very transparent. It's not that high split compared with Spotify. But it's a market that's like constantly shaping, growing, and correcting. So we believe in the future it can be better because the population base is big, is huge. As long as you keep your copyright, one day later it will be better.
Yeah, they have at least 6 PROs, so they do collect. It's just that they might not pay it out to you, but they do collect. And yeah, as Alice is saying, the sync is great. So you get your upfront money, you get the syncs, you get to collect maybe some other stuff as well, but you don't get to see everything right now. But in the future, if and look at China now buying, so Chinese companies are buying into the Western entertainment world, which is great. That means if they buy something, they also want to get paid for it, right? So the more they buy into the Western music, like Universal or other companies, even Spotify, they will start paying more back to it. So then it will open up. So I only see positive kind of, that's also why they're going up on the list of, the global list like now on the 5th place. So that means they're paying out money and earning money.
Another question right there.
Can I just add, because I'm from STEM, so just adding to that, and maybe Alice, you can maybe confirm or not this, but from our understanding, there's no mechanical performing rights in China on DSPs. There's a single online digital right, which is what you're getting paid for in the upfront premium, I assume. My follow-up question would be to Robin or anyone else. Has anyone ever recouped and ever seen royalty streams? So that talks a little bit against what you're saying, Alice, I think, that the backing really is not working.
Did everyone get that? Because it was so long, hard for me to recount. Did everyone hear? Good, thank you.
We do get royalties from DSPs, but not that much. And it just started to change after the anti-monopoly policy, because back then, every company got a blanket deal. They got large payment, and then they got statement. But how they distribute the money to their writers, to their artists, that's inside of the company that we don't know. And maybe that's one of the reasons that's why you don't see money from there. But the DSP, they did pay out the money.
Blanket licenses, you know, it's like in India, same thing. Huge companies getting the whole payment, and they say, we don't know who to pay the money to, meaning the data isn't there, the metadata is wrong, or they just don't want to pay it out, basically.
Another question right there.
So a very different topic, but how do you see AI being used in the Chinese market? Is it any different from the Western market in terms of like content creation, songwriting, composing? How do you see that in the future?
How do you see AI being used in the Chinese market, content creation,
I actually
songwriting?
have a friend, he has a company doing, they are developing this AI program. It's the same as the writers here. We're using like, they have AI voices or composing and production. I think that it's such a new market, so it's kind of the same everywhere. It's just people are exploring, developing, but we don't know what's gonna happen later.
No mer? Yes, in the back.
Could you say something more about touring in China, and maybe something more about what you said about the different kind of music playing everywhere? Could you about the live scene?
Yeah, can you tell us more about the live scene, about
So-
touring, and the fact that it seems to be a lot of live music everywhere all the time?
Yes, there are a lot. I think there are like two sides. One is the mainstream world, the big pop artists, international artists that come into China through Live Nation and through those majors. And then there's the underground scene that I know some companies that they do tours for international indie artists in China, do those small live houses. So it's like two different worlds, but they are quite good. Ever since COVID, people like the performance market in China, it was exploding.
Yeah, but you know, do the maths. If you have 10, 15 cities with minimum 25 million people in it, you can probably tour for a year in one city and still, you know, have new people coming in every day. So it's like being, you know, avatars in London. It's been sold out for 2 years or something like that, or at least going very well. So if you have an artist that is popular in China, obviously you can make a ton of money on ticketing. So it is pretty good.
Did that answer your question? Yes. There was another question right there.
Do you have any experience with the folk music or traditional scene? And if so, do you have any tell us about?
Do you have any experience with the traditional or folk music scene?
I have one experience with the guy you showed, Lei Chang, with the Rock the Heavenly Palace was one of the albums that's been very popular recently.
Gukko has 2 songs on the album.
Yeah, I have 2 songs on the album, which is amazing, and I'm very happy about that. And that's built on, like, I didn't produce the tracks for it. I got the tracks sent to me, and the tracks were built on traditional Chinese instrument in terms of jingshu, erhu, and whatever, all those cool like instruments. And it's basically trap hip hop kind of songs and compositions with those classical elements. And I think they're played for real because it sounds amazing of how they're built. If you reach out to me afterwards, I can show you the songs, because I don't think you can't stream them on Spotify, so it's only on some YouTube channels and stuff. But it's in terms of folk music, I think that's a really cool mixed up that I was fortunate enough to work with. Yeah.
But there is a huge interest in folk music. Like I said, Secret Garden is a folk music band from Norway. Rolf Løvland, which is one of the most famous composers of Norway, is a part of that group. And you know, if you follow those type of, you could probably reach out to their management in Norway. There's a couple of other Norwegian artists also touring in China right now. I wrote for a couple of them as well. And it's blowing up, that type of pop or folk. It's huge. And also jazz. Jazz is a huge market in China. Yeah. So if you have catalogs or music or albums in that type of genre, you could probably make a good living out of, you know, trying to reach out and get in there.
I can just add that if you're sitting there in the audience or whatever, and you're good at playing an instrument, like whatever, ukulele, the violin, whatever, I'm always looking for that type of stuff and to collaborate with real musicians, because I can see of my experience that those kinds of songs tend to go very well, and also I think it's a lot of fun.
But connecting to what you said, Robin, like if you have a jazz catalog, and how easy is it to distribute your music from west to east? How if you have a jazz catalog, how do you get it into China?
I would just look at what other famous, jazz catalogs are doing over there and copy. Do the same like they do. If you have something similar, then do the same thing.
Oh, so many questions this time. Love it. First you, then you.
Do they have the same limitations on foreign artists as well as domestic?
It's it's more loose. So it's I think even for people in the industry, sometimes you're just guessing because you don't really know. You just try to push a little and see how it. Yeah, but I can't really.
But so the question was, is it like any idea to try to, if you
Well,
have
you could try
violent
doing it on the
lyrics?
DSP first and see if they accept it, like
exactly.
online. And if that's a no-no, then you know you're not going to be able to go there and do any live shows either.
I think online is no problem at all. There are tons of hip hop and all those sounds are on the platform. It's totally fine. But for live shows, like underground, is more loose. It's like if you are performing at the stadium, then it's much harder on the review. So it really depends, and you just have to try step by step.
Okay, in the back.
Back to the royalty statements, recouped or not, you were saying there's not that much detail, there's not that much transparency. Lots of publishers in the room. What exactly do you see on the royalty statements then? And are there any differences of what you see today compared to, let's say, 5 years ago? What's on the statement?
What's on the royalty statement, and how can you trust it?
I don't think anyone worked in China 5 years ago, at least not that many. So I can't see the difference. But you get the advance, you get sync opportunities, and then you hold the rights. And like for the statement from DSPs, like I mentioned before, it's really transitioning because of after the exclusive licensing. Now everyone start to do non-exclusive with different platforms, and we hope that later people can start to push, because first of all you need to be able to see the streaming numbers to be able to get the real statement, because otherwise you don't know what you're getting. They could give you fake ones as well. So it's like quite like this is a new market. It's a lot of changes all the time, so it's really hard to tell.
Yes, so you basically don't know if you're getting paid accordingly, since the streaming numbers aren't transparent.
We know what we're getting paid with this advanced payment. We know we're getting syncs. That has been coming a lot for us, like quite a lot. Some could get many, and with really big money, more than an album track on the K-pop market. And that's what we know. And we know that there are little money coming from the statement from the streaming platforms. What we don't know is in the future if it can get better. And we hope that it can shape, because now the market is shifting from the stage to another. So we don't know what's going to happen now.
But it's like we said earlier, it's the local label gets blanket license money from the DSPs, and they choose if they want to pay you or not, basically, on that. So if you have a good partner locally, you have a better chance of getting paid, basically.
How do you feel about this as songwriters and producers, this situation?
I'm just very fortunate not to do the paperwork. It's so nice not to do that.
But you're still at the end receiving money or not receiving money.
Sorry.
But you're still at the end receiving money
Yes,
or not
yeah,
receiving money.
Yeah, of course, it matters to me, but I can't really, I don't know too much about that in depth. I just know that from when I started doing Chinese music, there was no discussion at all. It was payout only. While I see now a much more bigger attempt to create these collective societies and have a little bit more transparency, which I think is a huge difference from what it was before. But I can't really say how transparent or how correct it is, because I have no idea.
I think for me it's a gamble, as any business. Like some stuff it works, some stuff don't work, and it's like for me it's like I do the music because I love it, and if it gets plays, it's amazing that someone wants to release the music. If I see the royalties, of course, that would be ideal in every situation.
Yes.
Because that's how I make money and how I pay my rent and whatever. But it's still like as any like pretty new business, it is a gamble, and I think that's the part of the deal. So either you buy in on that or you don't, and it's
Okay, we have Oh, so many questions. What time is it? Can you check your phone? 10 minutes left. Okay. Who has been waiting the longest? Let's take you, for example.
You kind of mentioned it briefly in your presentation with Lay, for example, selling out of albums quickly. There is a culture of bulk buying in China with fandoms to bigger idols. Do you see that kind of impacting the quality of music, creation with labels, kind of knowing that no matter what they release, they will still sell huge amount of albums?
Even I couldn't really. There's a tradition
Yeah,
of bulk
so there was
buying
bulk
with
buying. You mean when you buy more copies than just one for? Yeah, I think. Yeah, so in China there's bulk buying from artists. You buy like 10 CDs. If it affects the quality of the music, if people are not that into the actual music, more like buying into the fandom, does it affect the quality of the music?
Quality, of course, matters. That's about the artist's reputation in the business. That's one side of the people, or like they need to show. But on the other hand, the fans, the fandom, of course, it's same as K-pop fandom. It's actually Lay was a member of K-pop group EXO. He still is, but he's doing a lot of solo stuff in China now, and that's very typical K-pop fan action. They just boost the numbers, especially now they have charts of who sells the most. They have to be the first, so they just keep boosting.
But I don't think it actually like affects the quality. Like they don't want to make worse music just because of that. So they still have to keep being relevant as artists. So I wouldn't be too sure that it actually decreases or increases the quality.
In fact, the more money you have, they want to invest the higher quality in the music.
But no artist wants to have a shitty album. I don't know if anyone here wants to have a shitty album. I don't think so. So if you want to keep current and you want to be number one, obviously you have to have good material. If not, everyone here will stop buying it, right? It's a shit filter. You are the shit filter. The audience decides in the end if you're a hit or a shit.
A hit or a shit. Okay, we had one up here.
Yeah, so another question about the market. Is there a big market or an interest in younger teenage rock pop groups?
Is there an interest in the market for younger teenage pop rock artists?
I think there is a market for every genre because there are a lot of people in China. It's like you can always find a market. Like I get asked sometimes by the writers, so what style of music I should write if I want to get into China. I always say that just do what you're best at and what you love the most, because the market has everything. We just need to find a place for it. If the content is good enough, we can always find a home for it.
Okay, in the back there. Which are the biggest and most proactive labels in terms of working with songwriters from here, I think she meant. Local. In China, yeah, who are the most...
for publishers or labels?
Publishers and labels.
And for publishers, it's still the majors. They dominate the most market share. And like we work in China, in Japan, in Korea with Universal Publishing. So it's still the majors, that's because they get the connections from the whole world also. Also because most people in the business actually don't speak, the older ones, they don't speak English. And for labels, I think that most A&R teams are quite open for foreign companies because they want to, K-pop is big, American pop is big, they want to get the same quality, so they are open to everyone.
But I think you have to look at the market differently because there's so many artists as well. Like I work with labels, they have 2,000 artists. I'm like, how is that even possible? Like, so the numbers are so insane. You can't really, you know, you have a label here in Stockholm and there are 5 people, right? And that's not, you know, it's 5,000 people working for this label. And you get shocked and you know, 2,000 artists. And they're all touring and they're all releasing and they're all, it's like a totally different ball game.
Okay, so 2 last questions in the back and in the front. First in the back.
You're working with Chinese artists
I've had both. Sometimes they speak a little bit, and sometimes they have a translator present. So I don't have a set one. It can be both for me.
Yeah, both for me as well. With Little Ghost, he speaks great English. It's getting better and better, actually. I've also had the situation where I worked with a guy that didn't almost speak any language at all, and also we had a film camera in our face like the whole time. So it was a very special session experience. But in terms of if you just push through the first maybe 3 hours or the first day, then it's very much easier to just pick up a guitar, play the piano, whatever, and just talk about music in that sense, which is a very interesting way of creating, because you can't talk. You can only do and that's the only thing we have, and that's pretty fun to work that way, I think. Yeah, it's exciting.
And up front, last question. So if you want to move to China and make a career out of it, should you move to Shanghai? Should you move to Beijing? Should you sing in English, or should you learn Mandarin? Sing in Chinese, different
Beijing
dialects?
is the hub of the whole entertainment business for music, for movies, TV drama, everything. So if you are talking about a career focused city, then Beijing will be the option because all the labels are there. And for writing, if you are already there, I think Mandarin would be great, and English also works. I think that it's not that important because people get a lot of English songs. Like all of our demos are English. They will redo the new lyrics later. It's not the most important thing to consider, but I mean, you should think from the quality angle first.
Well, thank you very much for all your questions. I think I've never done a seminar with this many questions, and I don't think everyone even got asked. So maybe you can reach out. Maybe you're staying a few minutes after. You can just come up and ask whatever we didn't have time for now. Just a really, really short last question. Looking forward, 5-10 years, how do you think the relationship between the Swedish and Chinese market industries will be? Do you see a future with freer exchanges and cooperation, or is that solely rely on the political situation?
I think it's going to be more collaborations in the future. It's getting more globalized, every market. So I think it's inevitable.
Yeah, same.
It's definitely going to be more and more, and especially now Export Music Sweden is going to China, so it's going to...
Feel the pressure, Jeppe. Robin, what do you think? Last word.
No, I think the same way. As long as we keep on working hard here and giving them a good product, they will always come back. And I think that goes for all markets, to be honest.
So thank you very much to the panel, and thank you for being so active, audience.